Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'm calling this the Friday fill up because I'm noticing that a lot of the times, especially when you've had a long or a hard week, by the time you get, sometimes it used to be when you got closer towards the weekend, you would be energized and excited and ready to just have a good time. But sometimes, and here lately, I believe that a lot of us, as we get closer to the end of the week, we feel depleted. So I'm calling this the Friday fill up. And I just wanted to come and give us a fill up, give us some words of inspiration, encouragement, even instruction and impartation to help kind of dig into those places where we may feel depleted. Really want to lean into some things that we have maybe not been comfortable articulating to those that care about us and know us. A lot of times we go through things on our own and don't really, and because we keep it in, people don't recognize that we're dealing with something. They don't recognize that we're battling with something. They don't recognize that we're not okay. And so this Friday fill up is for you. If you just really feel like, listen, I need to figure out how to be okay when I'm really not okay, because I'm not. I'm making it. I'm going. I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I know to do, but I'm really not okay. Then I believe that this is going to be a segment that is going to benefit you. So, hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Elisa Harney. I'm the empowerment specialist. This Friday fill up is going to be, I believe, a time of help, hope, and healing, something that helps us move into purpose, helps us move into wholeness, helps us pursue wholeness. And if you know of some people that may not be okay, that might be having a hard time through this, just in general in life, in their emotions, do me a favor and share this with somebody, because I believe that this Friday fill up is going to be beneficial. I see some of you guys that are tagging other people and sharing. Thank you all so much. Again, I believe that this is going to benefit some people. I believe that it's going to give us a reference point to say, thank you for helping me articulate how I'm feeling. I wasn't really able to share this with other people. I didn't really know how to express it. I didn't want to put a burden on folks because I feel some kind of way. Everybody needs me to be strong. Everybody is dependent on me to show up. Everybody is pressuring me to stand tall. But the truth is, I'm not okay. The truth is, I'm feeling a little depleted. The truth is, I feel a little discombobulated. The truth is, I'm a little depressed. The truth is, I'm not as strong as I'm appearing to be. The truth is, I sound a lot better than I feel. I look a lot better than I am. I'm moving forward out of obligation, not because I feel like I have the wherewithal or even the fortitude to do it. And I'm here for this Friday fill up to let you know something. I taught this a few years ago, and I just really this morning got up and felt compelled to teach this again. And it's one of those things that I have to say to myself. And it's some of the things that I have to say to other people. And that thing is, it's okay not to be okay, but it is not okay to stay that way. And if I could lead in with anything this morning, it's okay not to be okay. We're going to have times where we're not feeling our best. We feel like giving up. We want to throw in the towel. Who cares? What matters? Is there a point? So it's okay not to be okay. I know a lot of people put unrealistic expectations on us and make us feel like every day is going to be Sunday, and that every day is going to be, no more crying and always smiling. And that's not true. It's okay. And they make us feel like it's not okay that we don't have days where we don't feel perfect and we don't feel uplifted and we don't feel energetic and we don't feel vibrant. It's okay. not to be okay, but it is not okay to stay that way. We have to realize that we go through cycles and seasons. If the world were to stay in a state of summer, there would be some very damaging effects. If the world were to stay in a state of spring, as beautiful as spring is, we would be in a state of disarray after a certain amount of time. So it's okay for winter months to come, but it is not okay for our winter months to stay. It is okay for us to be in a fall season of our lives, but it is not okay for us to stay in the fall season. And so we have to recognize what season we're in, and we have to understand that it is okay to be okay, not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay that way. And so again, I just wanted to be obedient. I always tell you guys, I never know what's tied to my obedience. And I had no intention of doing this, what I'm calling Friday fill up, except the fact that I felt and just this burden to talk to those of us who sometimes don't feel okay. Now, you guys know, if you guys know me, that I believe that truth plus transparency is what equals transformation. And I think that a lot of the problems is we have so many people out here trying to project perfection, as though we got it all together. I'm good. I'm winning. Every day is winning. All I do is win no matter what. No, I lose sometimes too. No, I'm not always smiling. No, I didn't wake up like this. Some days I feel like throw all of it away. There are days when I feel like, what's the use? What's the point? Does this matter? Is this helpful? Am I really making a difference? When will certain cycles ever end? And a lot of the times when people project perfection in front of us, we feel like then it's not okay for us not to be okay because, well, if they're out here doing great, there must be something wrong with me. And a lot of the times we'll internalize the moments that we go through that are not so shiny and not so celebratory. And we will internalize those. We will lock those in. We will keep those down because we don't look like what we see portrayed on social media, or what we look like, what we hear when other people are talking to us. And so we immediately begin to think that we are out of pocket, we're out of grace, we're just completely in the wrong place at the wrong time, because nobody gives us permission to not be okay. And so this Friday fill up is for those of you all that are honest enough. One of the things that I believe I am called to do is to create a safe place for people to share, a safe place for people to speak, give people a responsible way to release things that may be bound up on the inside. And so this Friday fill up is for you if you've been feeling like, I don't feel like a winner in these last moments in this season. I don't really feel excited about my future. I don't really feel as though I am making the momentum or gaining the momentum that I once felt. I don't feel as hopeful as I used to feel. I don't know. My faith doesn't feel as fortified as it used to in the past. I'm not as encouraged as I was. When things looked like they were gonna build themselves back up and be restored, I was okay. But then after a certain amount of time, it didn't seem like I was bouncing back. It didn't seem like I was getting back to that place. And so the truth is, I'm not okay. The truth is, I'm not good. And so, how to be okay when you're not okay is what I want to deal with earlier. I just said a few moments earlier that it's okay not to be okay, but it is not okay to stay that way. Hey, bro. And so, I just wanted to do this Friday fill up because I felt a burden that there are a lot of people right now that don't feel okay. And they're looking at people who are projecting perfection and making it seem as though everything is good. And so you feel inadequate and you feel as though there's something wrong with you because you're going through and everybody else seems to be wonderful. But I want you to understand that it's seasons, and all of us go through a season of winter. All of us go through seasons of spring. And don't you know that even when you're in a season of, you can be in the summer of your life, but every now and again there's a monsoon. Every now and again there's this flood. Every now and again a cold front current shoots through and you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be bathing in the sun right now. What's happening? Because we never know outside external circumstances, things in our environment, other things pass through. And if we're not careful, if we're not mindful, if we're not intentional about doing internal inventory and finding out what's happening on the inside of us, we'll get thrown off. We'll think that we've hit the bottom. We'll think that we're not going to rise again. We'll think that all hope is lost. But I want to give you a Friday fill up that all hope is not lost. And I want to give you some practical protocol so that you can get back up and keep it moving. Thank you all again that have come on and jumped on with me. Thank you all that are tagging people and sharing. My hope is that this is going to be a moment of impartation, instruction, information that will help inspire you in this time. And so one of the things that happens when we begin to not feel okay, when we start feeling this place of being maybe depressed or oppressed or overwhelmed, we start to hide it. It scares us. We start to immediately pretend as though we're better than we really are. And there are a couple of reasons we do this. I'll mention three of the reasons why we do this. Number one, we don't want to be associated with anything that we think has a stigma on it. And so oppression, there's a stigma to that. Depression, there's a stigma to that. There's these stigmas that sounds like mental illness. I'm a child of the Most High. I'm not supposed to go through those moments. Or my finances are okay. I shouldn't be dealing with this. Or I don't want anybody to tell me that that I shouldn't. I don't want to be associated with anything that looks like it's contradictory to my testimony. I've been saying that it is well with my soul. I've been saying that we're gonna make it. I've been saying that I'm excited about my future. And so if I admit that I am not okay, then that's going to make me feel that it's going to create this contradictory mode in who I am. And so I don't want to put it out there because I don't want to be associated with something that I've been talking so hard against. I don't want to be associated with that. I think that if I admit that I'm depressed, if I admit that I'm oppressed, if I admit that I'm overwhelmed, then I believe that it dilutes my value. People will see me as less than I am. And so I don't want to say to people that I'm not okay. I don't want to admit that because I don't want to feel as though my character is diluted. I don't want people to think that I'm not good. I'm not okay. And so we hide those things. We put those things away because we're afraid. And so that's the first reason. The second reason why we don't want people to know that we're not okay is because we think that we're supposed to be okay all the time. We think that we have to be okay all of the time. So I don't know who made us feel that. Like, people start saying things like positive vibes only. It's I can only too blessed to be stressed. We everything is wonderful. All of those cliches, they're wonderful, but they're unrealistic. Sometimes we get through. All of us, we've had bad days. We have bad days because a lot of times people try to talk to us in the sense that they're over that stuff. Oh, I remember when I used to be depressed. Oh, I remember when I used to have bad days. Oh, I remember when I used to go through moments of fear. If we're truthful, we go through moments of fear. We have bad days. They cycle back around because it's life and we're human. And as long as the earth shall remain, they're going to be cycles of harvest time, but cycles where we don't have because we have to plant. And so we've experienced certain things and we keep it hidden though, because we think somebody has given us these unrealistic expectations of perfection, and we think we have to project perfection, and we can't walk into a place of wholeness because we think that we're supposed to be okay all of the time. And then the people that we're looking to make us feel as though they're okay all of the time. So we internalize it. Well, it must be just me. I must be in a place where I'm just not praying hard enough. I'm not working hard enough. I'm not believing hard enough. It has to be something wrong with me because I don't feel okay. So it must be my fault. It must be me. And that's some of the reason why we stay in this place. And then thirdly, the reason why we never want to admit that we're not okay, truthfully, is because we don't want to be judged. People mean well, but folks judge us. We get judged all the time. And we judge ourselves. Sometimes we're our worst critic instead of our best cheerleader. A lot of the times we say things like, you know what, I'm too grown to be dealing with that. I should have been past that by now. Too many people depend on me for me to be having this issue. Religious people might look down on me if they knew that I wasn't this person, that I didn't have, and I don't want to be judged. I don't want people to say, how can you be this? How can you be a leader? How can you be a teacher? How can you be a pastor? How can you be a business owner? How can you be these things and you're not okay? So I don't want to be judged. So I'm going to hide it. I'm going to pretend that I'm good because I just don't want people to judge me. And people judge out of inhumanity because real people, human people, flesh and blood people, understand that we're going to go through cycles where we're not on the top all of the time. And even if you are looking at somebody and you're thinking they're always on top, then you're seeing through a filter of a facade. That's not true. One of the things that I have to say to people all of the time is, look, I don't want y'all to think I'm perfect. If that's what you think about Dr. E, you are thinking the wrong thing. Your girl, we flunking out sometimes. I mean well, but I'm pressing towards the mark just like everything. I have not, listen, I count not myself to have apprehended. And so sometimes we'll put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves. Will let people put the pressure on us to think that just because we wear this title, just because we are the provider, just because we are the prayer warrior, just because we're the person, the glue, just because we're the folks that make it happen, that we're supposed to be okay all of the time. And so a lot of the times, not because people are trying to be neglectful, but because sometimes we unnecessarily put ourselves in hero mode, making people think that we have supernatural ability to have the resources all of the time, to emotionally be, elastic, that, we bounce right back. Then people look at what we project. And so they don't say, do you need anything? They don't ask us if we're good. They don't check on us. They don't say, was just thinking about you. They don't send us a little quick cash app to say, listen, you might not have it. I just wanted to bless you. They might not say, you're always doing stuff for me. Let me give you a little gas money. They might not do those things because sometimes it never even occurs to them that we're not okay. Sometimes it never occurs. And sometimes because we're so busy trying to please other people and not want them to worry about us, we project this perfection and we pretend like we're okay. But that's not helpful. Let me tell y'all, that's not helpful. If you are a parent and you're making your children think that every day is sunshine and that you're always okay, that's not helpful, because if they're not okay sometimes and they look at you and you look like the picture of perfection, I know, I'm a witness, they'll hide their secrets and they'll hide their emotions, because now guess what? I don't feel like there's any place where we can be relatable. I don't feel like I can relate to you because all you know is perfection and I'm not perfect. I'm over here flunking. So let me hide that. If you are a pastor and you're feeling like, well, everybody needs to I got to make sure that I'm always at the top of the mountain because that's the only way. Listen, you being able to say, I love y'all, but I've got to take a moment to heal. I carry a lot of burdens, but I'm human. So I'm taking a respite. I'm going on vacation. I'm shutting down. I'm going to put y'all over. I'm going to let somebody else kind of stand in the gap for me because I'm not okay. And so a lot of the times, again, because we put these obligatory opportunities on our back, we feel like we can't stop, we can't breathe, we can't pause, we can't let go of some things because we've got to be okay all of the time. But how to be okay when you're not really okay? Understanding that we have permission to pause. Can you type in the comments, I have permission to pause? I do. I have permission to pause. I'm not going to let you make me think I have to be an Energizer bunny and I just have to keep going, keep pressing, keep plowing, keep pushing every second. I have permission to pause. I need to pause because I need to do some internal investigation and find out if there's anything on the inside of me that has been broken, that's bleeding, that's bound up. I have permission to pause. I need to be able to pause for a minute and do some external evaluation and make sure that there are not people around me that are pulling off of me and pulling out of me what I don't even have for myself. I have permission to pause because I need to do some atmosphere assessment to make sure that there's not an atmosphere of oppression or depression hanging over my head. So I have permission to pause. I'm not going to just keep going and keep going and keep going. And then I end up in a mental institute, or I end up in a hospital, or I end up somewhere in a corner with all the lights off. I have permission to pause. It's necessary for me to keep going. I can't keep going until I pause. I have permission to pause. I'm giving myself permission to pause. I'm giving myself permission to take a time out. Listen, I got to take a time out. I got to take a break. I've got to make sure you guys will be okay. My children will be okay. My church will be okay. My family will be okay. My business will be okay. I have permission to pause because I'm not perfect. I have permission to pause because I'm not a superhero. I have permission to pause because I'm human. I have permission to pause because I have to be refilled. I have permission to pause. Psychologists have this term that they use, and it's called concealed depression. And what happens is it's when we wake up, and sometimes we think that this pandemic caused us to wear physical masks, but the truth is, a lot of us have been wearing invisible masks for a long time. We are complaining about physical masks that we have to wear to protect ourselves, but we wear invisible masks that we're thinking they're protecting us. But guess what? They're causing us not to be able to breathe as well. They're causing us not to be able to enjoy life, to get into alignment with our real feelings. And so we wake up every day and put on this invisible mask of perfection, and this invisible mask of strength and courage and hope. And when sometimes we are using this invisible mask to hide fear and emptiness and sadness and suffering. And so sometimes we get to the point we have to wear it so much because we don't know who's going to need us. We forget to take it off. So we just keep it on all of the time, and we look good on the outside, and on the inside we are empty and we are dead. That's concealed depression. And psychologists say that if it goes on for too long, if it stays hidden too long, you'll begin to integrate that into your identity. You'll begin to say, that's just who I am. That's just how I feel. This is just the way life is. This is just how it's going to be. But that's a lie. That is not true. So I want today to give us this Friday fill up for those of us who are not understanding that if we don't recognize whether or not we are in a place of oppression or depression or overwhelm, if we don't recognize the signs of it, we'll stay in the place of stagnation. We'll operate in a pact of concealed depression. And so how do I tell? How can I understand? Are there any signs that let me get a whiff of something not being wrong? Because again, I said at the beginning, it's okay not to be okay, but it is not okay to stay that way. If you're feeling sad, not just when something bad or tragic happens, but if you carry a sense of sadness, it is just something that is forever prevalent with you. That could be an indicator. If you lose interest or pleasure in things that you used to enjoy, watching movies, you used to enjoy playing Uno with your kids, you used to enjoy going outside for a brisk walk, but you lose interest or pleasure in activities that you once enjoyed doing, that's a sign. If your appetite begins to change, whether you start eating all of the time or whether you stop eating, and I'm just not hungry. I don't know. Food, I don't like the smell of it anymore. You start, I'm noticing that your appetite is taking a change for one reason or another. That could be a sign. If you have trouble with sleep, whether it's having trouble falling asleep or staying awake, that could be a sign. You're wondering that why does it take you so long to get to sleep? I'm not sleepy. My body physically feels tired. I know that I'm tired, but I can't fall asleep. Or when you do fall asleep, you can't stay asleep, or you're sleeping too much. You're always I need to go to bed. You haven't even done anything to exert any energy, but I just need to go to bed. That could be a sign. If you have an increase in what they call purposeless activities, a purposeless physical activity. If you're pacing, that's a purposeless physical activity, something that you're doing consistently, but it doesn't have a purpose. Ringing your hand, running your fingers, something that you just consistently do over and over and over and over and over again, but it has no purpose to it. Just a consistent, purposeless activity, that could be a sign. If you start having slurred conversation, your movements are slowed, or your speech is slurred to the fact that somebody else notices it. Somebody else says, "Hey, are you okay? Your speech seems a little bit slurred. Are you okay? There's some things that don't kind of sound coherent." That could be a sign. If you have this overwhelming feeling of worthlessness, or a guilty feeling, I just feel guilty. I'm not doing enough. I don't have enough. I'm not enough. And it's overwhelming. That could be a sign. Difficulty concentrating, difficulty thinking. You go and you can't really make a decision. You're going back and forth about things. It's just, I'm having a difficult time because I want to do this, but then what about this and what about this? And I can't make up my mind around what I should do. I can't concentrate. I'm trying to think about something, and my mind is just all over the place. I walk in to do something, and then I walk out the room, and then I'll come back in and say, what in the world was I trying to do? What in the world what was that all about? Difficulty substantiating your thoughts that you're really trying to do, making a decision, thinking things all the way through, sitting down, and it's just like you draw a blank. That could be a sign. And then thoughts of death or suicide, consistently thinking about, what if something happened to me? I wonder if my children would be okay. Just all of a sudden, just it's overwhelming. I wonder if let me just start, not because I'm preparing, because out of the fact that I want my house in order, but all of a sudden you find yourself kind of fantasizing, thinking through, wonder what my children will be thinking if something happens. Wonder who talk, wonder who will be doing my eulogy. We have to be mindful. That's why we do internal inventory, because sometimes we don't bring attention to these things, and we look up one day and we don't even know that there is depression and oppression around us. But these are signs that there could be oppressive thoughts. There could be depression trying to overwhelm us, trying to overtake us. See, it's different from sadness or grief or bereavement. In grief sometimes comes in waves. It's mixed sometimes with positive memories. In grief, your self-esteem is usually maintained. You don't feel less than, but you feel like you've been taken from. But when it comes to feelings of oppression or feeling of depression, that it comes along with this overwhelming a bubble of just, I'm stagnated. I can't move. I can't breathe. And so again, I wanted to take a moment to help us identify. Thank you all that are tagging people and that are being honest to say, what, a lot of us are coming to terms with this. I believe we're dealing with this. Again, it's easy to pop up online and talk about good stuff. It's easy to pop up online and celebrate things and give statements of encouragement. But sometimes people have real issues, and sometimes the people around us don't give us permission to pause. Sometimes the people around us don't give us a permission to undress, to say, here is where I am, and here is what I'm dealing with, and here is what I'm going through. I said at the beginning, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. Before I start talking about coping mechanisms and giving us some things that we can begin to do to help us as we navigate through this, I want to give you some red flags, some ways to alert yourself to depression, possibly depression, that sometimes we don't even think about. I'm going to give you 7 of them, and because a lot of the times we don't even recognize that this is something we're dealing with, that this is something we're going through, because we've normalized it. One of the things that I say all of the time is that just because you've normalized it doesn't mean it's normal. So I'm going to say that again. Just because you've normalized it doesn't mean it's normal. If we're not careful, we'll begin to say, well, It's another day. I already know I'm going to feel like this. I already know how this thing is going to end. I already know what's going to be. And we normalize it. But just because we've normalized it does not mean that it's normal. So I want to give us some red flags. Experts say that there are a few alerts that can be linked to depression, and it'll keep you from recognizing that this is something I need to be aware of. We understand that we are cycling through life and that there will be times where we're not going to be okay. But I want to make sure that if we're in a place where something has triggered us and got us into a place where that we're in a continuum of overwhelm, that we're able to recognize it for what it is. And so I want to give you 7 red flags that experts say we should be aware of, to make sure that we've not crossed over into a place of a place where we're not depending on these mood swings, and we're not reliant on never feeling okay, because sometimes especially when we're afraid to, and I gotta pause and say this, sometimes we even fear feeling good. We even fear positive things happening. We even fear things getting on the upswing because we've normalized not feeling okay. We've normalized things falling apart. We've normalized the other shoe dropping, and so we'll default to depression and not even know that we're doing it. We'll default into an oppressive nature. We'll default into expecting things not to work out, and so that when it happens, we feel like it keeps us from being sad. We like, oh well, you know what, I kind of knew it was gonna run out. That's why I didn't want to enjoy it. That's why I didn't want to celebrate too quick. That's why I didn't want to get too excited. And so we have to be careful that we are not normalizing dysfunctions, because we're trying to keep ourselves from falling into a pit. And so I want to give you 7 red flags to be aware of, that will sometimes mask itself to make us think that this is just something I'm dealing with. Number one, if you're in physical pain, recurring constant pain. Researchers say that anytime you're in a negative state of mind, you're more apt to tune into the negative or painful things that your body is going through. You start picking up things subconsciously or at a greater capacity. And so if you notice that you are in an enormous amount of pain, like everything hurts, I'm physically okay. I'm talking about not if you've been through an accident. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if all of a sudden you are just in an enormous, your back hurts, your shoulders hurt, then your temple, like all at the same time. And you're just like, is my body falling apart? When you are in a negative state of mind, researchers say your body automatically starts going through, your mind starts picking up on anything that happens inside of your body that's negative, and it starts putting it to the forefront. So if you start to notice that, you can notice every little flicker of pain in your body, that's my friend Kara calls it a pink flag. That's a pink flag that your mindset is in a negative state. So it's only being in tune with the negative things that are happening in your body. That's why when you feel good, when something good is happening, all of a sudden, you might have battled with headaches, but all of a sudden you're feeling good. Your appetite is back. You feel like stretching, going out for a walk, because now your body is in tune with the positive things. Your mind is in tune with the positive things. But if you notice that you feel every single creak, every single flicker of something physically in your body, it could be that your mind has set itself into a negative state. So that's a pink flag. The second one is if you find that you have a short fuse. Psychologically, your brain is operating by association. So whatever is more dominant opens the door for everything else that's closely related to it. So if you have a short fuse, if you're seeing that you're in a place, think about it. When you're in a good mood, you want to hear and feel everything that makes you feel good. When you're in a good mood, put on the best music, the music that you like, put on the music that just puts you in a vibe. You want to find your favorite person to talk to. You want to go get some ice cream or eat your favorite food. You want to go to the movies. But when you're feeling low, you open the door to hostility. When you're feeling low, you're argumentative. When you're feeling low, you get very critical. You're all of a sudden very sarcastic. You're angry. Everything agitates you. And so a lot of the times we think that when we have a short fuse, we're just thinking, I'm just having a bad day today. But sometimes, especially if you had a bad day yesterday and then tomorrow you already feel you're going to have a bad day, that could be something else. It could be a pink flag that says that there's something else that's going on, that might be more than I'm thinking about. Why am I so snappy? Why is everybody agitated? I have this thing when I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and I start snatching my shoulder, like, don't touch me, don't talk to me. I don't know. I don't want to hear it. Because I have to be honest. I have to stop sometimes and say, whoa, what is that? I'm having a short fuse. Something inside of me is in a place where I don't feel happy. I don't feel content. Let me trace the tree so I can remove and recognize and remove the root. The very opposite of that, the third flag I want to put out there is if you feel nothing, blah. You're in a place of neutrality. You have desensitized yourself. You're numb. You're a zombie, just a walking dead. Nothing motivates you to get up, to clean up, to exercise, to socialize with people. It makes you seem cold. It makes you seem distant. It makes you push other people away. You don't feel anything. I don't feel like, you want to call such and such. No, I don't feel like doing it. You want to go? I don't feel like it. I don't feel anything. Somebody tells you some news and you're just like, oh, okay, then, I don't care. Why y'all telling me? And I'm detached. Those sensations where you are kind of icing over, may be an indication that there's something bigger going on, that I'm not okay. The fourth thing is increased drinking. Nearly a third of people with depression also have an alcohol problem. Researchers say that you don't have to be an alcoholic to abuse alcohol. You're thinking, I need a drink to take the edge off, but now I need a second or a third drink to do something else. But actually, alcohol amplifies negative emotions. It amplifies anger, aggressiveness, anxiety, and even greater sadness. People don't want to tell the truth because, again, I told you, everybody out here projecting perfection, and not understanding. But a third of depression is actually linked with alcohol, and so you're doing it because you're wanting to numb something, but it actually will increase your feelings of feeling aggressive. All of a sudden, you feel very aggressive. You want to fight. I'm thinking about how such and such did me. I'm gonna call her and give a piece of my mind, and I'm tired of holding stuff back, and I'm gonna get free. You have to watch those triggers when you're not okay. Fifth is if you are glued to social media. Glued to social media, or even, it doesn't have to be social media, but if you're glued to one particular thing, like you're doing it in access, like it can be gambling. It can be shopping. It can be, even if it's online shopping. If you're glued to something, you're just doing it in access. It can be cooking, and just you don't cook for a whole week in one day, and I'm just packaging stuff. I'm just making sure we have enough. And you just, whatever you're doing, if you're doing something in access, understand that it is basically saying, that you may be feeling deprived of real human companionship. And so you're using the online world to escape from your own thoughts and feelings, especially when people are not giving you insight and wisdom and instruction, especially when you're looking at a bunch of people who look like their lives are perfect all of the time. And it's just whatever you're doing that you have your alert set for everybody doing everything. If you're not on Facebook, people aren't doing enough, you go straight over to Clubhouse. And once the conversations run out over there, you're going to go on Instagram. Once the conversations run out over there, you're going to go look through some YouTube videos. And it's because you're feeling a certain type of deprivation from human interaction. And so you're really trying to reach out for some type of companionship. That's why I'm such a big proponent of when I get in front of social media, I'm very honest. I'm very transparent because I understand that if we just show people the what we doing in balling, we can trigger things that are not accurate. I'm very honest about going through things in different aspects of my life, whether it's business, if we have to redo some things, I'm going to tell the truth. But we have to understand that if we're using the online world to escape our thoughts and escape our feelings, that's a flag, that's a trigger. If number six, if your head is in the clouds, if you are consistently always daydreaming, like you don't want to be present in the moment. That's really what you're saying. So you're often, as they used to call it, la la land. You're just fantasizing about different things. And as you're fantasizing it, what it's doing is it's keeping you isolated from real life, from real people, from real problems, from real things that may need your attention. But you rather just fantasize and daydream, just take yourself out of the reality of what may be happening and put yourself somewhere where you can create the narrative, where you can control the narrative. That's a sign. And then last but not least, if your grooming decreases, if you just kind of wake up and just you're neglecting your physical well-being. Yeah, don't feel like combing my hair today. They just gonna get this whatever. I woke up like this. I don't feel like putting on any clothes for what? I took a bath yesterday. You're like, what? I don't feel like it. I'm just gonna stay in my PJs all day. Nobody's gonna see me anyway, or I'm just gonna if you just begin to kind of you're almost rejecting yourself. Like, I don't have that level of value. Nobody cares anyway. I'm not going to dress up. For what? Where am I going? And so sometimes if we notice that our grooming begins to decrease, that we are in a place where, we're not caring. We don't want, listen, there are some days, y'all, if I'm honest, and I am, where I don't want it. I no. But when I recognize that it's not healthy to get into a pattern, I still make myself say, get up and put some clothes on. I don't care if you're not going live today, because, my aunt, and I say this all of the time, when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and I used to work for a nonprofit, I remember one day she told me, on the days where you feel the worst, dress the cutest. At the lowest level, somebody's going to tell you cute, and you'll hear it enough to where you'll actually start to feel better. And it worked. Can I be honest? There were some days where, at the time I was divorced, I was a single parent, I had kids I was trying to raise, I was trying to go back to school online and work a full-time job. And it was a lot of days where I wasn't feeling it. And so on those days, I would actually get up, put clothes on, take a lot of extra time to do my hair, get a little cute. And all through the day, people would be like, well, hey, look at you. And before I know it, this was positive reinforcement. I began to feel better. But I also noticed on the days where I just felt like I didn't care and I dressed like I didn't care, I got a whole bunch of goodness. What's wrong with you today? Oh, somebody woke up wrong today. And all it did was reinforce how I was already feeling. So when we start seeing that we are neglecting our grooming, neglecting what we look like, neglecting how we dress, that might be an indication. And so how do we cope with this? How do we get to a place where we can begin to be okay when we're really not okay? I'm not a clinical psychologist. I did major in psychology, and as a person who is a doctor of philosophy in Christian business and leadership, I just felt compelled to give you all some information, some instruction, some impartation, some inspiration that will put you in a different place to help you pinpoint some things that may be going on, but also to give you some instruction and give you information that I believe will put you in a better place, and to give you some clarity about where you're going, and then some comfort and confidence to keep going. How do you cope with this? What is it that you do when you recognize that you're in a place where you're not okay? I said at the beginning that we have permission to pause. We have to make a point to let ourselves know that we're not out here trying to be superheroes. We're not out here trying to carry the world on our shoulders. We're not out here trying to be everything to everybody all the time. We have permission to pause. But how can we begin to cope with this? Before I give you those things, some of y'all are already putting in the comments. But if this is helping you, leave me a message in the comments, or put a number one. This is my fill up Friday, and I'm hoping that it helps give you a fill up. If this is affecting you, if you've dealt with this or are dealing with this, or know that some other people that you're sharing this with that could benefit from it, can you put a number one in the comments, just to let me know that this is a Friday fill up for you? Because I always like to know that whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm led to do, whatever I feel a burden on, that I'm hitting the mark with what I'm doing. And so, I see y'all in the comments. Thank y'all so much. Because like I said, y'all all know that I have a lot going on, but I always say that I never know what is tied to my obedience. I never know who may need this information or this set level of impartation. And so I don't care what I'm doing, want to be obedient to that. So thank y'all so much. So here's how you can begin to cope. Now, this is going to seem really simplistic, but it is very beneficial. Number one, you have to say to yourself that there is always hope. There is always hope. One of the worst things that can happen is if you allow yourself to get to a place of hopelessness. Most people who have dealt with very severe depression, studies say that I got to a place, I tried to commit suicide, or there are suicide attempts because I felt like there was no hope. You have to reaffirm yourself that there is always hope. How do I know? Because seed time and harvest, there's always going to be a cycle of reciprocity. There's always going to be seasons. There are 4 seasons, and I don't care how cold and dark winter is. What I do understand is that the sunshine is on the way. I don't care how long it's been raining or how long it's been snowing. Help is on the way. At some point, the world is still in rotation, and so I can't stay in one spot for the rest of my life. There is always hope. There is always hope that the winds will change. There is always hope that the situation will change. There is always hope that there is some good on the other side. There is always hope that there's another side and an other side of this. So I've got to allow myself to believe against all odds that there is always hope. The next thing we have to just come and do is what I call a reality reconciliation. And this is just one of the things I adopted for myself a couple of years ago. I always have to do a reality reconciliation. And that reality reconciliation is I can't expect to feel good all of the time. Now, that doesn't sound great, but that's a reality reconciliation. Don't expect to feel good all of the time, because you're setting yourself up for a false narrative. If you think that every day you're going to feel good, every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel like going to work, feel like doing my job, feel like taking care of these kids, feel like cooking, feel like exercising. I'm not. My reality reconciliation says I don't expect to feel good all of the time. There are some days where I'm not going to feel good physically. I'm not going to feel good emotionally. I'm not going to feel good psychologically. I'm not going to feel good spiritually. If I go ahead and do a reconciliation in my reality, then when those days come, I can just say, just one of them days. The psalmist said it's just one of them days when I'm all alone. Just one of them days. I just gotta reconcile that it's just one of them days, and I don't go into a panic because when I'm angry inside, I don't want to take it out on you. It's just one of them days. Don't take it personal, right? And so if I do a reconciliation in my reality, I don't get so thrown off when it's one of the days where I'm not smiling and I'm not laughing, or I don't feel the best because it's just one of them days. One of the next things that's going to be important for us is to have self-compassion. We don't do good on this one. We are amazing at having compassion for other people. When other people are going through, when other people are dealing with stuff, when other people are having a hard time, we jump up, we save the day, we make sure they're good, we will send them money, we will bring over cakes and pies, we will send them a word of encouragement, we will post memes all over their page, but we don't do a very good job job with having self-compassion. We're very critical when it comes to ourselves. We tell ourselves we should have did better. We could have did better. Why did we do this? Why were we so stupid? Why didn't we know better? And all of this stuff. And we don't really have a lot of compassion for ourselves. We don't say to ourselves, you know what, you're human. You make mistakes. It's okay. This just you know what, it's just this just not this isn't a good day today. You know what, you flunked on that one, but it's okay. There's another chance. It's not the end of the world. We don't have a lot of self-compassion, and so we've got to love on ourselves better. We've got to be a little bit more compassionate with ourselves, a little bit more forgiving of ourselves, a little bit more mindful of the fact that we're human, mindful of the fact that a lot of us, if we're honest, it's some hereditary things going on the inside of us, and that stuff just comes up. It's in our blood. Some of that stuff is hereditary. Some of that stuff is learned behavior. Some of that stuff we're not going to be able to just jump up and change overnight. And so we have to be a little bit more patient with ourselves, a little bit more kind to ourselves, a little bit more, as I said, forgiving of ourselves, a little bit more compassionate to us. The next thing is understand that it's a lot of people, a lot of other people that are dealing with the same thing. As you guys, if you're looking in the comments, you'll see that you're not alone. And so you have to say to yourself, I am not alone in this. I am not alone in this. I'm not the only person who is dealing with these feelings of overwhelm or oppressive nature or depression. I'm not alone, because when we begin to isolate ourselves and begin to think that we're the only person that's going through it, then we'll think that I gotta go and do something crazy because it's just me. But you have to make that affirmation: I am not alone in this. There are other people that are going through it, and you know what? They can make it. We can make it. And so I'm not by myself in this. I'm not alone in this. There are other people that are dealing with the same thing, and even people who have made it out of it understand that they may have to go back through it again. So I'm not alone in this. That's why I was able to come on and give you guys information and instruction, because you're not alone in this. I can't teach what I haven't reached. And so I've reached certain places, and I still do get to places where I have to remind myself I'm not alone in this. The next thing you have to understand is that spending too much time alone isn't good for you. When you just begin to isolate yourself, when you begin to put barriers up and barricade yourself into your own thoughts and feelings, it's not good. Even though you don't want to overindulge in anything, make sure that you're in a place where you can connect with some other people, whether you have some groups. I know there's not a lot of physical socializing, so places like this, in this live, that it's helpful and it's pulling us together where we can talk and chat. Being a part of groups or mentorships or places where you can gather together, whether it's church or whether it's job or whether it's just, I need to make sure that I'm engaging with people. I can't go in my house and lock myself up in the room because my family don't understand what I'm dealing with. And maybe they don't understand, but maybe they can be there to listen. Maybe they can't fix it, but maybe they can be by your side as you deal with it. And so instead of isolating yourself, instead of holding yourself in the ground or being by yourself, I just want to be alone. Don't get me wrong. All of us have seasons where we need to go away for a minute, but being by yourself all of the time or too much of the time is not going to be good. Understand that there is no final destination, right? That there's no that you don't just say this is it for me. That this is the final destination. Understand that this is not the final destination. That even though I'm feeling a certain kind of way, this is not the final destination. Feeling overwhelmed, feeling depressed, feeling like I'm losing, that's not my final destination. This is just it might be a pit stop. My pit stop right now might be that I got to figure out how to get through this, or this might be a bad relationship, or financially I'm not doing the best, or right now this is just a pit stop. It is not my final destination. I got to keep going because there's a race I've got to run. I've got to keep going because there's a purpose and a destiny I've got to fulfill. This is not my final destination. This might be a pit stop. That's so I said you have permission to pause. As I'm pausing, I'm getting myself back together. As I'm pausing, I'm getting a wheel alignment. As I'm pausing, I'm refilling, I need some more gas. As I'm pausing, I'm doing an oil check. As I'm pausing, I'm cleaning out some things. As I'm pausing, I'm stopping by to get something to eat because I need to be nourished. I'm pausing because I need something to help me continue this race, because this is not the final destination. Understand that exercise, believe it or not, is an amazing antidepressant. Sometimes, we look at when my daughter was home before she went out to college, she had this app she put on her phone that made us do like a 10-minute timeout for exercising. And we had to stretch and oh my goodness, it pushed me and I hated it. But it was funny. Something really crazy happened after I stopped whining and complaining about it and got into a zone. And it was just stretching. Let me be honest with y'all. Don't get it twisted. Your girl not going to be out here, jumping rope and skipping and no. But this stretching thing was a big deal for me because it was a small amount of time. It was like 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes. And then we opened it or expanded it to about 10 minutes. But I noticed that by just being programmed to stretch, even if, our health and wellness instructor, I sit at my desk a lot because of what I do, the nature of my business, consulting and coaching and creating. She said, even at your desk, let me show you how to stretch. Let me show you how to move around. Let me show you how to get active. If you're team Apple, your watch will say, hey, it's time to stand up and stretch. It's time to walk up the stairs and back down. Most of you guys know I have a new baby, Cheddar, and he has to be walked. And he has to go outside and do his business. And he does not sleep late and sleep in. And so that has been a help for me to exercise, to get physical. It's an amazing antidepressant. Recognize that there's no quick fix. I would love to say, all you got to do is send the winds your way and just pray and you'll drop right out of it. But there's no quick fix. The reason why we stay connected to people, stay connected to our faith, stay connected to prayer, stay connected to our purpose is because it helps us as we are navigating through times. Yea, though I walk through a valley of a shadow of death, I have to walk through it. I'm just not going to be scary when I do it. And so there's a time where we're going to go through things. But when we say to ourselves, it's not a quick fix. Sometimes it's going to take a little time. I'm not going to expect that it's going to just jump up and be what it's going to be. Then I'll be able to kind of rationalize, okay, it's not better, but it's getting better. I'm going to declare that and speak it and move towards it. And understand this, your brain can change. Remember at the beginning, I kind of paused and said that a lot of us have defaulted to depression. A lot of us make ourselves think that this is the place that we're in. So we just need to make our bed and lay in it. No, I need you to take up your bed and walk out of it. Understand that your past or what you've been through or what you're going through, you want it to become a place of relevance. Reference, not residence and not relevance. I want to be able to refer back to when I used to, but I don't live there. I don't reside there. It's not relevant to me. It's not who I am. It's what I've been through, so I can reference it. So when you begin to think about journeying from it, make your brain change. Say to yourself, this is not a permanent place of residence for me. This is not going to be relevant for me for the rest of my life. I'm moving through this thing. I'm changing my mind about who I am and what I can have and what I can do and what I can accomplish. I'm changing my mind about this being my portion. It's not. I'm not going to stay in this place. This is not who I am. This is not who I'm meant to be. I can make it. If I can just end with, I can make it. Can you type that in the comments? Because sometimes we just got to speak to ourselves and be kinder to ourselves. When's the last time you said that to yourself? Self, I can make it. You tell yourself, put your name in the comments and say to yourself, Dr. E, you can make it. Speak to yourself. You got to remember your ears are always listening at something and to something, and they're translating messages to your brain. What kind of messages are you sending? Say to yourself, I can make it. Call your own name out and tell yourself, I can make it. We've got to trigger some new thoughts. We've got to trigger some new emotions. We've got to trigger some new focuses. And so you have to tell yourself, I can make it. Yes, I can. I can. It doesn't feel like it, but I can. I can make it. Yes, I can. I see it. I get it, but I can still make it. I see y'all in the comments. You've just got to make this. You've just got to make the declaration and make sure that, remember when I said at the beginning that you're creating these processes for yourself, but you've got to make sure. It's funny because we'll complain all day. We'll be quick to tell people about what we're going through. And so we reinforce that in our minds, but no, I can make it. I see y'all in the comment section. I can make it. And so a couple of things to do before I let you guys go. Stay in touch. Stay in touch with folks. Stay in touch with people. I'm just, even if, well, they didn't call me, so let's stay in touch with people. Face your fears. Don't avoid things that are difficult because they'll overwhelm us and they'll make us feel like we can't get past them. So face your fears. Don't avoid the things that seem difficult, but get them in bite-sized pieces. My friend Kara always says to me, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So when there's the elephant in the room, oh, it's just something I'm trying to avoid. No, one bite at a time. Change your diet. And when I say change your diet, I'm talking about across the board. Your physical diet, change your natural diet, change your mental diet. What are you ingesting? What type of songs are you listening to? Are they depressive? What kind of foods are you eating? Are there foods that make you drug down and make you dreary and make you feel overwhelmed? What kind of people are in your atmosphere? What type of information are you eating? What are you ingesting? What are you watching? Because you're feeding yourself this. What are you putting in you? Change your diet because it affects everything about you. Get a routine. This is so important. Stop winging it, trying to win it. Because when you get a routine, you begin to create purpose. So get a routine. If you just say, well, I ain't really got nothing to do today, so I'll just get up whenever. I'll just do whenever. No, but get yourself a routine. One of the best things that happened, I actually broke the spirit of procrastination off of my life by getting a routine, by planning things, by getting a physical and a electronic calendar, and by planning things, planning my day, planning when I'm going to get up and work on this, even if I'm going to brainstorm. Am I going to read? Am I going to study? Am I going to pray? Am I going to walk? Am I going to have a conversation? Am I going to have a meeting? Plan a routine so that you have a reason to get up and put your clothes on, a reason to study, to turn the light on, and put some good music on. Get you a routine. It will do wonders for your life. And don't express yourself. This is another one. Express yourself. Talk. If you've got to talk it out, write it out. It's very therapeutic. If you're a dancer and you need to clear some space in your living room, turn you on some music and just go for it. If you like sunshine, if you know right now you're not ready to walk, listen, go outside, walk to the mailbox and come back. Create the routine, but express yourself in some kind of way. If you're a writer, if you're a singer, if you are a rapper, you express yourself. Find a way. If you're an artist, find a way to express yourself. Give yourself a responsible way to release. Boost your self-image. I spoke about this a little bit earlier, but change your hair. Y'all know me. Those of you guys that know me, you don't know what kind of style after a couple of weeks that I'm gonna have. It might be wet and wavy. It might be some pin curls. It might be over to the left. Listen, might be a little color added in. But do something to change something. Slap on a little lip gloss. Dress up sometimes. Put yourself in a place where you can boost your self-image. You may have shirts and you say, I don't have a reason to wear this. Give yourself one. Stop waiting on a reason to wear this cute shirt. You bought it for a special occasion. I woke up this morning. That's a special occasion. I'm going to put my shirt on, get cute, take a picture and post it for no other reason but to say, well, good morning, y'all. Find a way to boost your self-image. And then last but not least, get help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to seek help. Don't be afraid to get help. There are people who can help you in different capacities, whether it is to give you an encouraging word, whether it is to help you along the way, whether it's therapy, whether it is coaching, consulting, whether it is, pastoral care, whether it is a prayer. So, get to the place where we have not because we ask not. So So we've got to get to a place where we ask for help. Y'all didn't ask me to come live and come do this, but because I'm obedient and sensitive, I felt the weight and the burden of it. And so I came to give what I felt like I had to give. But allow yourself to say, hey, I need help. And then if somebody helps you, say thank you. Appreciate them, because you don't ever know what they're dealing with. You don't know if they're pouring out of a place where they feel like they're going through some things. And so put yourself in a position where you're able to ask for help and not be ashamed and not be afraid. Remember what I said at the beginning. It's okay not to be okay, but it is not okay to stay that way. And so I'm Dr. E. I hope that this was a moment of inspiration, impartation, instruction. I'm calling this my Friday fill up. At any point where I have the time and availability or just feel led to come give a Friday fill up, I'm definitely going to try to integrate that in my schedule when it allows. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I hope that this was a help to you. I'll be checking the comments out to make sure if you guys leave a message in there for me that I will see it. But until next time.